All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the seated exercise series. Today is Thursday, July the 13th, and we have this class for the next 3 weeks. So for the remaining Thursdays of this month, we'll be running this class, the seated exercise series. For those who are new to class or who may not know me, my name is Shelley Yu, and I'm a physiotherapist here at Parkinson's Society BC, and I will be leading this class. So for those who are new to the seated exercise series, this is our fully seated exercise class, and you won't need any equipment. We will be sitting down in a chair for the entire duration of the class. However, with that said, because it is an exercise circuit that we're going to be doing, it is a moderate intensity class. So this is our level 2 class. But of course, if you need any breaks in between the session, you're of course more than welcome to take breaks as you need. You don't have to do the exercises at the same speed that I'm doing it at. You're more than welcome to slow things down as you need. And as I mentioned, there's no equipment needed for this class, so all you'll need is just a chair to sit in. So I've got a chair set up behind me here, and ideally the chair should not have any arms, just so that way you don't actually hit your arms on anything as you get moving. But of course, if you only have a chair with arms, that's okay as well. Just be a little mindful as we're moving around today that you don't hurt yourself in the class. Now, we are in the Zoom meeting setting today, which means that you are more than welcome to unmute your microphones at any point during the class. And if you have any questions, you're welcome to ask them. So don't hold your questions to the end. You're more than welcome to ask them during the class if you like. But of course, I will also come closer to the screen at the end of the class in case you do want to save your questions for the end. And you are more than welcome to use the chat box function as well. So the way the class will run today is we will start with a bit of a warm-up together. And then following the warm-up, we will be doing the circuit portion of the exercise class, which will be 5 exercises that we do for 2 minutes each. And we're going to repeat the circuit twice. So 5 exercises, but we're repeating the circuit twice. And then following that would be a cool down. That will be it for the class. So it should roughly take about an hour. And please follow along to the best of your abilities. If you need a break at any point, feel free to have a break. I'm just letting another person in from the waiting room here, and then we can get started. Okay, hopefully you can all hear me and see me okay. I think everybody's microphones are connected from what I can see here. So, oh, sorry, your audio is connected from what I can see here. So hopefully you can see me okay. And I've just gone ahead and muted everybody, but you're more than welcome to unmute yourself if you need to during the class. Okay, I'm gonna get started. I'm turning up the brightness here, and I'm gonna move back to the chair. Okay. So we're going to start with our warm-up today. We're going to sit up nice and tall. Now, if I turn sideways for a second, you can see that when I'm sitting in my chair, I've got a nice gap between myself and the chair, and I'm sitting on my sit bones. I'm nice and tall. So what I don't want to do is I don't want to spend my time at the back of the chair like this, because if I'm leaning back and I'm sinking into the chair, it's very difficult to move your arms and legs. Whereas if you sit up nice and tall, use your tummy muscles, and you move yourself to the front of the chair, it's much easier for you to move because you're in a more upright position. So for today's class, we're always going to assume that we're sitting at the very front of our chair. Okay, turning back to face you again, sitting up nice and tall, we're going to start with a deep breath in. Reach those arms up overhead, lace the fingers together, and really push the palms up to the ceiling. Big stretch, stretch, stretch. And we're going to circle the wrists and bring the arms back down. And we're going to do that again. Breath in. Palms up, big stretch towards the ceiling, as far as you can go. And we're going to circle the wrists all the way down. Let's do one more of those. Breath in. Big reach up to the ceiling as far as you can go. And circle the arms all the way down. I'm just going to let somebody in from the waiting room. Okay. Next, we're going to float those arms up beside us. Nice tall backs, long necks. And we're going to bend over sideways into a bit of a stretch. One arm reaching for the floor and the other arm reaching for the ceiling. Big reach as far as you can. And we're going to come back up to the middle. Drop the arms for a moment. Bring them back up. Same to the other side. Wide fingers. Leaning down, big stretch. You should feel a stretch on the outside of your torso. Reach, 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 reach. Coming back to the middle, drop the arms again. We're going to do it one more time each side. Float the arms up, wide fingers. Bending over to the side, big stretch, reaching the arms in opposite directions from each other. Back up to the middle. Drop the arms last time. Float the arms up. Widen those fingers, stretch over to the side, reaching the arms in opposite direction. Coming back up and drop the arms. Okay, we're going to take our hand. We're going to hold on to the opposite knee. And the other hand is going to wrap around the back of the chair such that we're sitting tall and we're pulling ourselves around into a rotational stretch. And you're trying to look at the back wall here. Nice and tall. Try not to hold your breath in this rotational stretch. As tall as you can possibly be. And then we're going to release, same to the other side. Taking your other hand, grabbing hold of the opposite knee. Then your other hand is going to wrap around, grab a chair, sit up tall. And we're going to twist ourselves around to look at the back wall. So it's almost like your spine is a corkscrew here. We're not leaning to the side, but we're kind of turning on the axis here. Nicely done. Keep breathing as you're stretching. And release. Let's do one more time each side. Take your hand, grab hold of the opposite knee. Other hand wrapping around the back of the chair, sit tall. And we're going to twist ourselves around to look at the back wall, nice and tall. Keep breathing as you're doing this. Keep holding it. I'm just going to let someone in. Oh, nope, you've been let in. Perfect. Thank you, Alexandra. And we will release, same to the other side. Take your hand, grab hold of the other knee, and then your other hand wrapping around the back of the chair, sitting tall. And we're going to rotate around to look at the back wall. This is the last stretch that we're doing here. Nice and tall through the spine. And release. I'm going to turn sideways for a second. Now, I mentioned earlier that we always want to sit at the front of the chair, but this is the only time that we are allowed to slouch. So what we're going to do now is we're going to just move our bums back in the seat a little bit. We're going to lean into the back of the chair, slouch down a little bit, bring the arms up behind the head like so, and I'm going to arch back up and over the chair for a back stretch so that you're looking at the ceiling. Just be careful here. You don't want to go so far back that you tip over in the chair, but you do want to open the arms. Don't let the elbows point forward. Open them out and lean up and over into the back of the chair so that your chest is directed up at the ceiling. And we're going to release. Drop the arms for a second just to let them rest for a moment. And then we're going to do it again. Arms up behind the ears. Make sure the elbows are open. So don't let your elbows point forward. Really open them nice and wide. Arch up and over the back of the chair so you feel that stretch there. You're trying to get your chest up towards the ceiling. Remember to not hold your breath. Keep breathing as you're doing this. And coming back up, using the tummy muscles, sit up nice and tall. And move back to the front of the chair again. I'm going to turn to face you. Sitting up tall, we're going to put our hands on our hips and we're going to move down to the legs. So we're going to lift those heels up as high as you can. And then drop the heels, lift the toes up as high as you can. Drop the toes. Again, we go heels up, toes up, heels up, toes up. So from the side, I'll show you here. Heels up, toes up. So you're kind of rocking on your ankle here. Make sure as you're doing this, we're sitting up nice and tall. We want to avoid this as we're moving. We want to keep our body nice and still. It's almost like you've got a book that you're balancing on your head and you're being nice and stationary here. The only thing moving, just the ankles, lifting the heels up, lifting the toes up. Keep going. I'm going to face you again. Heels up, toes up. Nicely done. Heels up, toes up. Keep going. Heels up, toes up. Nice and tall. Shoulders away from the ears. Heels up, toes up. One more. Heels up, toes up. Okay, now our feet are going to be flat on the floor. We're going to straighten one knee so that you're showing me the bottom of your foot, the sole of your foot, and then we're going to bring it down. Same to the other side. Bring that foot up. So you're straightening that knee to show me the bottom of your foot and bring it down. Straighten the knee to show me the bottom of your foot and bring it back down. Keep yourself nice and tall. Try not to lean back as we do that. We want to sit up tall. Keep our body nice and still as if we're still balancing that book on our head as we're doing this. Keep going. From the side, you can see that my shin comes up to meet my thigh and then back down. So I'm not going and then down to the floor. So I'm not doing this, but I'm lifting the shin up to meet my thigh, and then same to the other side. Keep going. I'm just going to let somebody in from the waiting room. Okay. Keep going, straightening the leg and bring it down. Straightening the leg and bring it down. Trying to get the leg up nice and high if you can to show me the bottom of your foot. You're really using your thigh muscle here to really get that leg up, straighten the leg. Let's do two more. Nice and tall through the torso. Last one. And rest. We're going to bring those legs nice and wide, ideally wider than your chair. We're going to go for inner thigh stretch. So with the legs wide, we're sitting up nice and tall. Put your hands onto the inside of your knees, and you're going to push the knees out to the side like this. Keep your spine tall, and then you're going to hinge forward at the hips. And you should feel a stretch on the inside of your thigh, but keep your arms on the inside of the knee so you can push them out, spine long, and hinge forward at the hips, and you should feel a stretch on the inner thighs. If this is too much for you, you can do one leg at a time. You can try to straighten out one leg nice and tall and hinge forward, and you should feel it there as well. So you can do one leg at a time if this is too much for you, or with both legs, pushing the knees out, hinge forward at the hips with the spine nice and long, not curved, nice and long. So you feel that stretch through the inner thigh. Holding here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Coming back up and walk the legs back in. I'm going to let somebody else in from the waiting room. Okay. All right. Still sitting in our chairs. We're going to now march on the spot, swinging those arms. Noticing here that as I'm marching, I'm not going like this, and I'm not curling down over the legs, but I want to be up nice and high, nice and tall. I'm sitting tall on those sitting bones, and I'm swinging those arms, opposite arm to leg. So from the side, it looks like this. And you'll notice that my arms are swinging back behind me as much as they're swinging forward. So I don't want to just be like this, but I want the arms to go back behind me as well. So there's an element of that rotation in your spine as you're marching. You're really trying to get the arms back
behind you as much as they're going forward. Keep going. That's it. Marching on the spot, swinging those arms. Try to make those arm swings a little bigger if you can, especially when you're swinging behind you. Nicely done. Keep going, nice and tall. Imagine that foot still on top of your head. You don't want to be like this. You want to be nice and tall, nice and open through the chest. And now as we're marching, we're going to add a little bit of a pattern here for our legs. So we're going to go out, out, in, out, out, in, out, out, in. So we're doing the same marching pattern. We're just getting the legs to move in a different direction a little bit. So we're going out, then in, out, then in. And we're still sitting nice and tall over our sit bones. We're not like this, hunched forward. We're nice and tall. We're still swinging those arms. Bring those legs out, in, out, in. Now remember, if anything feels like it's a little too fast, that's okay. Don't worry, you can slow it down. It doesn't have to be the same speed that I'm doing the movement at. You're more than welcome to go much slower if this is too fast for you, as long as the underlying quality of movement is still good. So I don't want you to slow it down and then end up doing this because the movement is now too small and too scrunched. But I still want you to be nice and tall and swing those arms and really try to step out as far as you can with those legs as you're doing this pattern. Let's do a couple more here. Same thing, out, out, in. And then we're going to switch up the pattern a little bit. Nice and tall. Good, well done. Now, we're going to keep marching, but we're going to go forward, forward, back, back, forward, forward, back, back, forward, forward, back, back. And once you have the pattern, you're more than welcome to speed it up a little bit. So from the side, I'm going forward, forward, back, back, forward, forward, back, back, forward, forward, back, back. Noticing I'm still swinging my arm. I'm still nice and tall through my spine as I'm doing this movement. Once you have the pattern, you're more than welcome to speed it up a little more if you like, or you can stay at the same speed, going forward, forward, back, back. Good, keep going. Forward, forward, back, back, forward, forward, back, back. So nice and tall through the spine as you're doing this. Really try to keep those arms swinging. So don't let the arms now do this. We want them to swing nice and big with the range of movement if you can. A couple more. Nicely done, nice and tall. Last one, forward, forward, back, back, and rest for a moment. Okay, hopefully you're a little warmer now. If not, don't worry, we're gonna keep going and you will get nice and warm. So that was our warm up, but we are now going to move on to the circuit portion of our exercise class. So as I mentioned earlier, we've got 5 exercises that we're going to do for 2 minutes each, with maybe about 30 seconds to a minute break in between each one. And we're gonna run through this circuit twice. Now, because this is our level 2 seated exercise class, it's a moderate intensity class, so it's not slow pace, but if you do need more breaks or you need to slow the movements down, please feel free to do so. You don't have to be matching my speed, okay? So here's what we're gonna do first. Here's the first exercise. We're still sitting up nice and tall. We are going to punch and kick with the opposite arm, like this, opposite arm to leg, like this. Punch and kick, opposite arm to leg. And we're gonna do that 10 times. So it looks like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. After you do 10, we're gonna do 2 expansions and collapses like this. 1, big stretch, and collapse all the way in. Here's 2, big reach, noticing my fingers are wide open, and in. And then we restart from the beginning with our 10 kicks and punches like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then we do 2 of our big reaches and collapses. Second time, big reach and collapse. Okay, that's our first exercise. We're gonna run through that for 2 minutes together. So remember, if I'm doing something too fast, please feel free to slow it down. The goal here is to aim for endurance. Break, please feel free to do so, and then try to get right back in as soon as possible. Okay, should we start? Are we ready? 2 minutes. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, and go. We do 10 punches and kicks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and we do 2 big stretches and collapses, and collapse as small as you can, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And again, big reach, really spread those fingers as wide as you can, and collapse all the way in. Again, 10 punches and kicks. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Big stretch, spread the fingers nice and wide, and collapse all the way, squeezing into a small ball. Again, big reach as wide as we can, spread those fingers, and collapse all the way in. Again, punches and kicks 10 times, as hard as you can. Really emphasize the exaggeration of the movement. Here's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and reach as far as you can, and all the way in. One more time. Big stretch those limbs as far, and hold it back. You've got 30 seconds. Let's go for our punches and kicks. We're doing 10. Here's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Big reach as far as you can, and collapse all the way and squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. One more. Big reach as far as you can, and collapse back in. You've got 5 seconds left. We go punches and kicks for the last bit. 3, 2, 1, and rest for a moment. Well done, everybody. That was exercise number 1. We've got 4 exercises left to do in this circuit, and then we're going to do round 2 of the same 5 exercises. So I'm going to show you the next one. We're going to start with the legs nice and wide. We're still sitting forward in our chairs, right? So remember earlier I had mentioned when we're in this class, we always want to be at the front of our seats. We never want to be back here, because if we're back here, it's very difficult to move because our center of gravity is so far back. So we want to sit up and make sure we're at the fronts of our chairs. So exercise number 2, here's what we're doing. Spread the legs nice and wide, so it's a bit wider than your chair. And what we're going to do here is we're going to take our arm and we're going to reach on a diagonal, and that same leg is going to reach out away from your arms. And then we're going to come back into the middle. You can hold on to your chairs if you need a bit of help with balance. Same to the other side. We're reaching as far away as we can. Meanwhile, the same leg is reaching in the opposite direction. So it's kind of like if you imagine there's a paintbrush taped onto your hand and onto your foot. You're kind of drawing a diagonal line, if you will, as far as you can. Really spread the fingers nice and wide. Same to the other side. You're stretching your limbs away from each other, noticing my fingers are nice and open, nice and played. You're going for as big of movements as you possibly can. Really open up the side of your torso. So it's almost like I'm stretching you on this diagonal. So that's our movement. We're going to do that for 2 full minutes if you can. Now, just like before, if you do need to rest, that's okay. Please take a rest, but we're going to try to aim for endurance here and try to continue on for the entire 2 minutes. Are we ready? Sitting up nice and tall. You can hold on to the seats of your chair for balance if you need. We're going for 2 minutes. We're starting in 3, 2, 1, and go. Reaching on a diagonal as far as you can, coming back in. Same to the other side, big reach, spread those fingers, reach the leg away, coming back in. Big reach to the side, make sure your leg is also shooting away from you. Remember that analogy of having those paintbrushes taped to your hands and to your ankles, and you're trying to draw as big of a line as you possibly can. The aim here is try to make the movement as big as you can. Really splay the fingers, reach the arm and leg away from each other. If this is too easy, you're more than welcome to lift the leg off the floor if you like this, but you have to balance a little bit more, or you can keep the leg on the floor. It's entirely up to you. Keep going. I'm just letting somebody in from the waiting room. Keep going, big reach. Big reach, you got 1 minute left. Keep going. See how far you can stretch those limbs. Get the leg off the floor if you would like, or keep it on the floor. You can also move a little faster if this is too slow for you, but it's up to you. Big stretch as far as you can. Don't be afraid to lean to the side of the chair. Nicely done. Keep going. You got 30 seconds left. We're going to try to keep moving for the entire remainder of this circuit. Keep going. Spread the fingers nice and wide. Reaching, leaning to the side. Keep going. Last 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And rest for a moment. Nicely done. Okay, that was exercise 2. So we've got 3 exercises left in this round, and then we're going to redo the round again for the second time. So our next one here, we're going to do a bit of a modified crab walk in our chairs. So we're going to have to start kind of on the side or on the corner of a chair with our legs together and our arms together. And here's what we're going to do. We're going to open up our arm and leg and close again. Open up the arm and leg and close again, all the way to the other side. And then we do the same thing coming up the other way. Open, close, open, close. So it's kind of like we're doing a bit of a crab walk, but we're pivoting on our chairs. Again, we're going open, close, open, close. So you're kind of turning 180 degrees here. Again, open, close, open, close. You're going to try to get around the chair in 2 of those crab walks. You go open, close, one more, open, close. And we're going to do that for the entire 2 minutes, traveling side to side. So you're kind of pivoting on your bottom. And so this is why we want to be sitting upright, because if we're like this at the back of the chair, very difficult to kind of shimmy around to the sides. Whereas if we're sitting up nice and tall at the front of our seat, we have lots of room to be able to travel around in our seats. Okay, so we're going to be using our tummy muscles a little more in this exercise to help us pivot around. So we're going to try that. We're going to start on one side of the chair. We're crab walking from side to side. We're gonna do this for 2 minutes, just like before. Have a break if you need a break, but we're trying to continue for the entire 2 minutes. Are we ready? We're gonna start in 3, 2, 1, and go. Open, close, open, close, open, close. Make sure the legs are moving with you. Arms and legs open together and close together. If this is too fast, please feel free to slow it down. Or once you have the pattern, you can speed it up as well. You don't have to do the same pace as me. You're more than welcome to go faster or slower, as long as you're keeping this movement going of this open and close, open and close, and you're pivoting in your chair. So we're not just facing forward the entire time, but you're going side to side. Nicely done. Keep going nice and tall in our chairs in order to help us get all the way around. Nicely done. We got 1 minute left. Keep going if you can. Try to keep those arms up. They might be burning a little bit because you're holding the arms up. We're going to try to keep them up nice and tall anyway. Nicely done. Keep it going. Crab walking side to side. You're pivoting in that chair, so your chest should not be facing forward the entire time. You should be making your way kind of like a semicircle around the chair. Nicely done. You got 30 seconds left. You're almost there. Almost there. Keep going nice and tall. Keep breathing. Keep the arms up if you can. 20 seconds. Almost there. Nice and tall. Good. Nicely done. You're almost there. 10 seconds. Keep going. Arms up if you can. Last 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And rest. Rock the arms. Nicely done. You shake them out a little bit if they're feeling sore. Kick those legs out a little bit if you need to stretch them. Nicely done. Okay. We've got 2 exercises left in round 1. And then we're going to do round 2 of the same 5 exercises. Next exercise we have is something called the wood chops. And here's what we're going to do. We're going to clasp our hands together like so. And we're going to reach the arms up overhead. If you can't go overhead, that's okay. Just go as far as you feel you're able to. So if you can't go all the way up, don't worry. Just go as far as you can, but try to keep the elbows straight. So I don't want to see anyone do this. We're going to try to lengthen the arms if we can. And what we're going to do here is we're going to bring our knee up and we're going to bring the arms to the outside of the knee that's come up. So I'm rotating over that leg and I'm going to go back to the middle. Same to the other side. Leg up and I'm bringing the arms to the opposite side, or sorry, to the same hip as the leg coming up. So I'm twisting and back up. So I'm doing this kind of twisting motion back to the middle. Twisting motion back to the middle. Twisting motion back to the middle. So the whole time you're doing this, you want to try to keep your torso tall. Yes, when you rotate, there'll be some element of a little bit of a collapse, but I don't want to see anyone do this. We don't want to be down here. We want to be tall and twist, tall and twist, tall and twist. Okay, so that's the movement we're going to be doing. Trying to keep those arms lengthened if you can. We're going for 2 whole minutes. Remember, we're aiming for endurance here if we can. But if you need a break, please feel free to take a break, but we'll try our best to continue on for the entire 2 minutes. Okay, are we ready? 2 minutes starts in 3, 2, 1, and go. We twist back to the middle. Twist back to the middle. Nice and tall over your sit bone if you can. You're bringing your leg up and you're chopping those arms down to the outside of the hip. So we're twisting as we're doing this, but you're not forgetting to bring up the leg as well. Good. Keep going. Keep breathing as you're doing this. Try not to hold your breath. We're twisting as we're doing this movement, trying to stay up nice and tall in our chairs. Remember, if this movement is too fast, you're more than welcome to slow it down. Or once you have the pattern, you're more than welcome to speed it up as well, okay? Whatever works for you. But I'm gonna kind of stay at this medium pace here, just in case anybody is lost and you want to follow along. Remember, your arms always go back up and then down, back up and down. So we don't want to be here where the arms are kind of stuck. Want to go all the way back up each time. You got 1 minute left. Arms go up, then down, up, then down. Good, nicely done. Keep it going. Nice and tall in our sit bones. Twisting the body as we're doing this. 30 seconds left. You're almost there. Keep breathing. Hopefully no one's holding their breath. Good. Keep going. Make sure your arms go up before they go down. Then they go back up each time. Last 15 seconds. You're almost there. Keep moving. You've got 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and rest. Shake out those arms, shake out those legs. Nicely done. Okay, you've done 4 exercises so far. We've got 1 exercise left in round 1 before we move on to round 2. So the last exercise we've got in round 1 is actually going to be our sit to stand practice. So I'm going to turn sideways so you can see me. Now, there's a couple of different ways of doing this. If you're not very confident with standing up in terms of your balance, you're more than welcome to have something in front of you that you can kind of hang on to if you need. But here's what we're going to do. For our sit to stand, it's very important that we keep our center of gravity over our base of support at all times, because a lot of the times we have difficulty standing up because our weight is too far back or too far forward. So something that I commonly see is we start at the back of our chairs and we try to stand up, and it's very difficult to, because my weight is all the way back here, but my base of support is all the way up here. And then we end up doing this kind of thing, or we end up pushing our bottom up and then trying to pull ourselves up using a table or something like that. So that's not very efficient when we're standing up. So what you want to do instead is to sit up tall, move to the front of the chair first so that your center of gravity is as close to your base of support, i.e. your feet, as possible. And then when we go to stand, you actually want to bring yourself forward, almost like someone grabbed your shirt and they're pulling you forward. You want to bring yourself forward over your feet enough so that your bottom lifts off the chair and your center of gravity is over your feet. And then from here, you can push the floor away from you as hard as you can, still keeping your center of gravity on top of your base of support so you can stand and balance. And then when you sit back down, it's exactly the same thing. You're sitting your bottom back, your chest is coming forward, your center of gravity is still in the middle of your base of support, in this case, your feet, and then you lower your bottom down without crash landing or without having to push the back of your legs on the chair to kind of help you balance, okay? So this is our last exercise of round 1. We're going to practice the sit to stand, but we're going to go nice and slow. So we're not going to use momentum to help us stand up. In fact, we're going slow for this one, because the slower you go, the more difficult it is actually. So I do want you to go a bit slower. So remember, we're bringing our body forward over our base of support such that our bottoms lift up off the chair. Then we push the floor away from us as hard as we can, still keeping our center of gravity over our base of support. We're standing up nice and tall. And then when we sit down, it's the same thing in reverse, bottom back, chest forward, such that our center of gravity is over our base of support the entire time. Then we slowly lower back down into our chairs. Okay, so we're gonna do this for 2 whole minutes, and you're gonna try your best to practice that technique slowly, keeping your center of gravity over your base of support. So we're not cheating by using momentum or pulling up on something or pushing the back of our legs against the chair. We want to be using the strength of our body to do this thing. Okay, are we ready? 2 minutes starts in 3, 2, 1, and go. Bring your center of gravity over your base of support. Keep yourself balanced over your base of support to stand all the way up slowly. And then when you sit down, same thing, bottom back, chest forward, but we're keeping our weight balanced over our feet at all times until your bottom touches the chair. And we restart that. Bring your body forward over our feet. And then we stand up, keeping our body balanced over our feet. And same thing in reverse. So do this in your own time. You don't have to be following the same speed I'm doing. I want you to go nice and slow in your own time, really working on the sit to stand technique. So we're not cheating by using momentum. We're trying to pull up on something or losing our balance as we're doing this. We're really going to try to use our body mechanics to help us with the sit to stand. Keep going. You got 1 minute left. Take your time. There's no rush. It does not have to be the same speed I'm doing. Please do this in your own time, keeping in mind that technique of balancing your center of gravity over your base of support the entire time. Should be nice, soft landing, no loud crashes down into the chair. 30 seconds left. Take your time, really balancing yourself over your base of support, i.e. your feet, the entire time. Last 10 seconds. Keep going. Nicely done. And we'll sit back down nice and slow and rest for a moment. Very good. How did that go? I can see some of you as you were doing this. I couldn't see everybody, but I see a couple of squares on the screen, and it looked like you were doing well with the sit to stand. So hopefully that makes sense. So every time you do a sit to stand at home, this is what I want you to think about. I don't want you to try to swing yourself up as hard as you can, but I really want you to think about balancing your center of gravity over your base of support so that every time you do stand and sit down, it's nice and controlled in terms of the movement, and we're not relying on pulling with our arms or pushing the back of our legs into the chair or having someone physically pull us up. We want to try to use the strength of our body to do that. Okay. So that was the end of round 1. So we got round 2, our final round. We're going to do the same 5 exercises over again from the beginning. So the first exercise we had our punch and kicks. We're doing 10 of them, opposite arm to leg, like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. After we do 10, we're doing 2 big stretches, spreading the fingers nice and wide, and collapses all the way in. Second time, big stretch the fingers and collapse all the way in. And then we start again with a 10 kicks and punches, big stretch, and collapse in twice. Are we ready? 2 minutes. Starts in 3, 2, 1. Here we go. We go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Big stretch. Reach those arms, spread the fingers, and collapse all the way in. Big squeeze into that little ball. Again, stretching up, spread those fingers, reach, 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 and collapse all the way in as tall as you can.
and kicks and punches from the beginning. We go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and stretch as far as you can, and collapse in as small as you can. Again, big stretch as far as you can, and in as small as you can. From the beginning, we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Big stretch as far as you can. And collapse all the way in as small as you can. Again, big stretch as far as you can. And in as small as you can. Good. From the beginning again. We got 30 seconds left. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Big reach as far as you can on the forward. And collapse as small as you can. Again, big stretch as far as you can. And in as small as you can. Last 10 seconds, we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and relax. Nicely done. Okay, exercise number 2. We're starting with the legs nice and wide, wider than the chair. And this is the one where we reach on a diagonal. Remember, stretching the fingers wide, the same leg goes out in the opposite direction. So it's like we're forming a diagonal line with our body. And then we come back to the middle, same to the other side, big reach, arm and leg away from each other and back to the middle. So we're going to do that for 2 whole minutes. Are we ready? 2 minutes starts in 3, 2, 1, and go. Big reach, stretch, 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 spread the fingers. Coming back in, same to the other side. Big reach, as big as you can. And back to the middle. Really spread the fingers. Imagine there's $1 million taped on the wall on a diagonal and you really want it. So we're stretching and opening our fingers as wide as we can to try to reach that target. Good. So you'll notice as we're doing this, we're leaning side to side. We're transferring our weight from side to side. So we don't want to be staying in the middle of our chair. We want to be leaning from side to side as we're doing this. Nicely done. Keep going. Hopefully you're breathing as you're doing this, not holding your breath. Big reach as far as you can. Nicely done. Keep going. Big reach, reach, reach. You got 1 minute left. As far as you can. Drawing as big of a diagonal line as you can. Really reach the leg away as well, so you're opening that hip. Nicely done, everybody. Big lean from side to side. Reach the arms. Big reach. Big reach. Good, nicely done. Make sure your fingers are spread nice and wide. You've got 30 seconds left. You're almost there. Keep going if you can. Big reach. We're aiming for this large amplitude. We're moving as big as we can. Of course, without falling off the chairs. So we do want to be leaning side to side, transferring your weight from hip to hip. 15 seconds. You're almost there. Keep going. Last 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And rest. Shake out those arms if you need. Nicely done. Okay, our third exercise was a crab walk. So this is the one where we start on the side of our chair, or if you're not able to get all the way sideways because of an armrest, you can always go on a diagonal. This is the one where our legs and our arms are touching together like so. And we go open, close, open, close, all the way to the other side. And then same thing back around again. Open, close, open,
close. So remember, for this one, we got to sit up tall because if we're leaning back into the chair, very difficult to move. Whereas if we're sitting upright, much easier to do this kind of transfer movement and this pivoting in our chairs. Okay, so 2 minutes. We're starting on one side. Are you ready? Here we go. 3, 2, 1, and go. Open, close, open, close, open, close, open, close. Keep going. Remember, if this is too fast, you're more than welcome to slow it down, or if it's too slow, you're more than welcome to speed it up. But I'm going to stay at this pace just in case anybody is lost with this movement. The main thing with this exercise here is we're sitting up tall, but we're pivoting in our chair. We're turning in our chair. You're using your trunk muscles to help you move and turn, even though you're sitting down in a chair. Of course, it might be easier in some chairs than others, but the more forward you are in your seat, the easier it's going to be because the less friction. Whereas if you sit too far back in your chair, this one's going to be quite tough to do. Keep doing, keep going. Keep those arms up if you can. Try not to drop them. Keep them nice and tall. Arms and legs move together. You've got 1 minute left. You're almost there. Keep going nice and tall. You're pivoting on that seat. Nicely done. Keep going. Keep those arms up if you can. Keep pivoting in your seat. Open and close. Open, close. Nicely done. Hopefully you feel those arms a little bit. Keep going. You're almost there. 30 seconds, almost there. You've only got 2 exercises left after this, and then you're done. You're almost there. You can see the finish line. Keep going. 20 seconds. Keep moving if you can. 15 seconds. Nicely done. Last 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And drop the arms. Shake them out if you need. Shake out those legs if you need. Nicely done. Okay, I see everybody keeping up, so that's a good sign. Nobody's logged off yet. You're still with me. We got 2 exercises left. Our next one, we're starting with the legs a little wider, and we're clasping those hands together and we're reaching them up overhead. Remember, if you can't go all the way up, that's okay. You can just go as far as you feel comfortable doing. But this is our wood chop. So what we're going to do here is we're going to lift up our leg and we're going to twist. We're going to chop those arms down to the outside of that hip. And then we're going back up again, same to the other side, chopping those arms down to the outside of the hip and then coming back up. So the important thing here is we're trying to keep the elbow straight if we can. We want to avoid this. So I don't want to see anyone go like this, but we want to keep the arms up and you're using that kind of straightened arm position, that long lever to kind of twist over to each leg like so. Do you remember this one? Hopefully, yes, looks a little familiar. So that's the exercise. Okay, we're gonna do that for 2 whole minutes. And then you've got your last exercise, which is your sit to stand, and then we're done. You're almost there. So last 4 minutes of hard work and then our cool down. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, and go. Chop. And back up. Chop. And back up. Good. Nicely done. Keep going. You're twisting your torso as you're doing this. Think about that chopping motion. Got to get the arms up in order to get enough force to chop down and down. Nicely done. Make sure those legs are up as well. When you chop, you bring that knee up. Knee up. Good. Nicely done. Keep going. Make sure the arms go back up every time. Otherwise, you won't have enough of that force to chop down. Because if our arms are down here, we're not going to be moving very much. So we want the arms up and down. Up and down. Good. Keep going. 1 minute left. Breathe out every time you chop. That might help that force, that driving force, that effort level of the movement. Nicely done. Keep it going. You've got 30 seconds left. You're almost there. Up and chop. Up and chop. Good. Nicely done. Keep twisting. 15 seconds. You're almost there. Last 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And rest. Shake out those arms. Shake out those legs if you need. Our last exercise, I'm turning sideways, is our sit to stand. So remember this one. We're trying to keep our center of gravity on top of our base of support the entire time. So we're nice and controlled with the movement. And when we sit down again, same thing. We're keeping our center of gravity on top of our base of support and then slowly lower down. So we're going for 2 minutes, nice and slow and controlled with our sit to stand. So nobody should be doing this and using momentum or pulling up on something. We want to use the strength of our legs to stand. Are you ready? 2 minutes. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, and go. So take your time on this. You don't have to match my speed or anybody else's speed. Do this in your own time. The main emphasis here is on the control of your sit to stand and your stand to sit. Nice and controlled, nice and slow. Work on keeping your center of gravity over your base of support. And make sure when you stand up, you stand all the way up, nice and tall. We're not like this. We're nice and tall for a moment before we then start to sit back down. Take your time. Really balance your body, your center of gravity over your base of support as you're doing this. Taking your time. We're not rushing. We're not comparing speeds with anybody else. You're doing this in your own time. Main emphasis is the control of the movement. You've got 1 minute left. Nicely done. You're almost there. Keep going. Good. Nicely done. Good. Nicely done. Keep going. 30 seconds. Nice and controlled. Last 15 seconds. You're almost there. Do one more sit to stand wherever you are. And then sitting back down. And rest. Nicely done. Okay, big stretch all the way up. Take 2 deep breaths in this big stretch position. And we're going to circle the wrists all the way down. We're going to bring one leg forward nice and straight, and you're hinging forward at the hips. Let me turn sideways like this, hinging forward to feel a stretch at the back of the leg there. Hold it for a few seconds. And coming back up, same on the other side, other leg forward, nice and tall, hinge forward at the hips. You should feel a stretch at the back of the straight thigh. Yeah. Back up. I'm going to face you again. We're going to do a thigh stretch here. So we're going to sit at the front of our chair. We're going to turn on the angle slightly. We're going to bring one foot back and you're going to point the knee down at the floor. So I'm sitting in my chair, but I'm trying to point this knee down into the floor. And I'm going to lean back into the chair and really try to flatten out this part of my hip. So you should be able to feel a stretch in the thigh here. Leaning back in your chair. So the more straight the side is, the more you'll feel it in the thigh muscle. And coming back up, same to the other side. We're gonna bring one foot back, try to point that kneecap towards the floor. We're gonna lean back into the chair to try to flatten out this part of our hip. The more flat that part is, the more of a stretch you'll feel in the thigh. Coming back up, sitting tall. We're going to reach those arms out to the side. One side, you're going to have the palm facing up. The other side, you have the palm facing down. And then we're going to swap. Palm up, palm down. Swap. Palm up, palm down. Swap. Palm up, palm down. And keep twisting your arms like so. One palm up, one palm down. And just twist a couple of times. Good. You're going to take your hand, grab hold of the opposite elbow, and pull that elbow towards your shoulder. Drop that shoulder down so you feel a stretch on the outside of the arm, holding it here for a few seconds. And release. Same to the other side. Take your hand, grab hold of the opposite elbow, pull it towards your shoulder like so. Drop the shoulder down so you feel a stretch on the outside of that arm. Hold it for a couple of seconds. So done. And release. Open the arms nice and wide. Last one. We're going to try to squeeze our shoulder blades together and look up at the ceiling. So you're stretching across the chest, squeezing the shoulder blades together. Deep breath here. One more. And drop the arms, shake it out. And you are done. Nicely done, everybody. That was session number 1 of our seated exercise series. I hope you enjoyed that and it wasn't too challenging. So remember, with the seated exercise series, even though we're fully seated for the entire duration of the class, you should still feel like you're doing some hard work because we are still trying to keep up the pace and continue moving for the entire hour as much as possible if we can. And I will see you all next week, same time, same place. Thank you very much for joining me today, and I hope you enjoyed that. If you have any questions, you're more than welcome to reach out to us via email, which is info@parkinson.bc.ca that I've just typed in the chat box. And I will see you next week. Thank you, everyone.